Hi, you guys. What's going on? My name is Rye Reed, the writer. So happy to see all of your faces. It's been exactly one day since I've last seen you, and I'm so happy that you keep coming back to me. Where else would you go? Who else would you log on to? Here. You want to be here, and that's why you're here. That's why we're having these discussions. Because who else is going to go through TikTok and find news for you? Because this is important. I'm doing this for you. Don't even think about me right now. I'm doing this because of you. You're welcome. You're welcome. All right, so it's been all over TikTok. There appears to be a nationwide teacher shortage, which is this is no surprise to me. Come on now, what? Man, of course there's a shortage. What else do we expect? If there wasn't a shortage, I would have asked administration, hey, can we make it a shortage? Can we start it up? I'll tell you why there's a shortage. I have an article of all this information for you guys, but I'll tell you why there's a shortage. It's 2023 right now, but let's rewind time back to 2020. We are in the midst of this weird plague that is sweeping the world. It's all over the place. I'm thinking people are turning into zombies. People are mutating. You got to take this weird shot. You got to wear a mask. You can't breathe out the mask. It's hard. But we have children. Schools are shut down. Your kids cannot go on campus. We don't want to spread anything. We don't want to harm the children. The children. We are worried about the children. The children. So what ends up happening? Children are forced to do education online through Zooms. How I know about this? I was actually working for a community center where our community centers got turned into an enrichment camp. So I was actually in classrooms with students who were no longer on campuses, but in small learning units and small classrooms. And I would watch these students do their Zooms with their teachers. And I'll say this, by God, by God, these kids, they didn't even know what was happening. Was anyone learning effectively from what I've seen, those 2 years I was doing the enrichment camps? No, I would say hell no. Just to add a little more flavor to what I'm saying is a hell no. Those kids were clicking in and out the Zooms. The kids, some of them couldn't even log in, right? We're asking a first grader, hey, can you log in? Your teacher's waiting for you at 8 a.m. You know what to do. This kid doesn't even know what to do. We're expecting them to do this weird interface learning style, which is foreign to us, those of us who, were lucky enough to have, teaching styles where we were in a classroom with a teacher. But these kids, they never had that. And they went through this really just strange teaching method for 2 years. And now they're back into the classrooms. Now they're expected to wake up early, to show up on time with their clothes on. I'm watching kids go to school in pajamas. The struggle is for real. But we're expecting them to have all their school supplies. These kids didn't have school supplies during the pandemic. I said the majority of them didn't. They would just show up, click a button, and that was class, have the blankets over their face. Teacher was teaching, wasn't paying attention. They can't do that in live learning. It does not work. So of course we're going to have adjustment periods for these kids to adjust. But yeah, we have 2 years of lost learning. That's just what it is. 2 years of lost learning during the blip. Because that's what it is. This is Spider-Man. This is some Thanos stuff. Infinity Stones on. Blip. Where'd they go? 2 years. These kids were gone. Found this article. It goes, teachers are calling it quits amid rising school violence, burnout, and stagnating salaries. whoever wrote this, I really appreciate the title. It's really effective. I'm going to go over some reasons why teachers are quitting in mass numbers. And I really do. I feel so bad for teachers. Like, I was watching this video this morning, and this teacher, he quit on his 3rd day of educating.
I'm done.
You quit?
You're not going to be disrespected by anybody. I don't know who you people think you are, but you don't treat anybody like this. Not funny.
What he went through, I could never. And I'll also say this. Just me being me, I put a lot of the blame on these children, like their behavioral issues, on the parents. Like, parents have to take responsibility for little Jimmy and little Susan being tyrants, just unwilling to learn, unwilling to pay attention. They're causing, like, other kids to act up in classes as well. It's the parenting, because you got to ask yourself, what's happening at home? And just for me, like I told you guys, just helping out students in enrichment camps, I got to see what parenting looks like in 2023. I'm not calling out all parents, but just from the ones I've seen in my local area, these parents, like, their only prerogative was just to make sure their kid got to class, and that was it. There was no, like, helping the kids with their homework. There was no, like, teaching the kids about, like, just, like, life and how to be a decent human being and how to treat others and be respectful. Like, I would have some instances where I would tell a parent, like, your child didn't bring a lunch today, and your child had nothing in her backpack. This is a true story. And the parent just tells me, oops, I'm sorry about that. What? Your kid had no lunch. No lunch. There was no Lunchables. Like, there was no Go-Gurt. You literally could have just went to McDonald's at least and grabbed your kid a snack. Something. Something. But no lunch, no school supplies. And, these parents, they're not really at home with their kids or, doing any one-on-one with their children. Kids come home, here's a TV, here's a laptop, here's a phone. Does the kid have homework to do? Maybe. Can the kid read? Majority not. Is the kid even keeping up with the other classmates, or isn't even, like, present in class? Of course not. Does the kid have, behavioral issues and we're alerting the parents? What does the parents do? Majority of the time, like, nothing. The kid just comes back to school the next day, unchanged, remaining in that same, like, pit of just acting up. So it's just bad. I'm gonna go over this article. I'm just gonna discuss some things that are the reason why teachers are quitting. So here we go. Teachers say school systems need to be doing more for their students. High on the list of proposals, educators said that they support to combat burnout after raising salaries and hiring more teachers. So that's how schools are trying to combat teachers quitting. But this is what one person said. We don't have the number of counselors, mental health professionals, or nurses that educators need. Wow, okay, that makes sense. And the educator shortage is also in part attributable to notoriously low teacher salaries. So let's think about this. I'm like basing everything off of this article I'm looking at, but according to the article, the current salary for a teacher is $55,000. $55,000. I gotta get closer to the camera. Let me get a little closer to y'all. Can y'all see me? I can see you. Like, can you see me? Like, we're right here. We're right here. What am I gonna do with $55,000 in current times? Like, right now, during an inflation, during a recession, we're pretty much in a depression. Can I afford a home? Like, I live in California. No, I can't even afford an apartment with $55K. Like, the normal apartment, especially where I live in my area, you're paying $2,100 a month. What? What? Come on. A month, right? Like, that's not even including like insurance, amenities, food, healthcare, car. Don't even get me started with student loan debt. Like, we're about to find out what that's going to look like in a month or so. But what's $55,000 going to do for you? Then they say this is the inflation adjusted salary. So according to this article, this is what they've done, schools have done to combat inflation. So you went from making $55,000 a year, right? Now that we're inflation, guess how much you make now. Just guess. Just right now, just tell me. Guess how much you think they make now. I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna be nice. $59,000. You're rich. You're rich. You're rich. Oh my gosh. This is what they think teachers want. $59,000. Hell, even if you were making $60K, like what? What's $60K gonna do for you? Nothing. What? And like, it's unfathomable for me to think. I can't wrap my mind around it. They're wondering, man, why do we have teacher shortages? Like, what? How come people don't want to go to school, go through all this education, get their CVS, get their licenses, go through all this training and become teachers? Like, they should want to. You should want to become a teacher. Drop what you're doing and become a teacher, because I want to pay you $55,000. And if you're special, I'm going to pay you $59,000. Like, what? Of course, there's just that alone, that pay, you've canceled people out. There's no way I would go to school, drop $100K for my education to make $55,000. You're joking. I can go be a manager at McDonald's. I'm really talking about my McDonald's right now. But yeah, I can go become a manager at McDonald's and make more. I can be a manager at Target without an education and make more. Like, come on. What? I can go Lyft. Lyft drivers, I think, are making $45K, $50K up in LA. Like, what? What? For 59? What? 55? You gotta be joking me. But yeah, the pay is just, come on. Come on. Okay, so according to the article, the next one is burnout. So this is pandemic. After doing so much online teaching and trying to keep up with all the new safety rules, teachers trying to make sure kids don't catch COVID, they don't catch COVID. Like, that was a thing. That was a thing. Like, the kids were catching COVID, killing off the teachers. So the teachers were catching COVID like every other month. They just kept catching it. Having to do all these like safety protocols. Plus, on top of that, like, you have behavioral concerns and kids are acting up. And, you're mentally just tired, right? Especially if you're a teacher. And I feel bad for those teachers. The teachers who did hybrid, where they would teach a certain population of students online. Then at the same time, they would have to teach another population of students in person. So they're doing like double the workload. And plus, during 2020, especially 2021, teachers were already quitting in like mass numbers. It was already happening. So not only are you doing like two sets of teaching for like two different demographics, you're also taking on the workload of teachers around you who've already quitted. So you're tired. You've been tired. The word tired and you are best friends if you're a teacher. Like, you're done. You're done. And teachers got the least amount of help that I saw personally during the pandemic. Like, I think everyone was getting hit really hard, but teachers had it so incredibly hard. Teachers were expected to teach. They were expected to be there for these children during like this crisis. Teachers were expected to be parents for these kids who were acting up. Like I said, these kids have not been in an educational setting for 2 years. It's just too much. And lastly, according to the article, teachers are quitting due to behavioral concerns. So according to the article, we're not just teachers. We're kind of like counselors or babysitters a little bit. Sometimes we act as mothers. with COVID and everything else, it kind of became too much for me to handle on a day-to-day basis and still feel sane. I stand on this. Parents are to blame. And I get it. During the whole COVID era, we were all going through it. But like, these are your kids. Like, you pushed this person out. Like, you really made a whole darn human. Like, this person is your person. And during like this, whole COVID time, which is understandable, we're all suffering, but like, this is still your kid. You still have to raise your kid. And I never understood this, like, especially now that I'm like an adult, I never understood why teachers are expected to raise children rather than them just be in a position where they're educators, which they've been hired to do. An educator, a teacher, in no circumstance should be put into a position where they not only have to teach the children, and teaching is hard because you're essentially like ingraining new information into a person, and they've never learned this. So it takes a while for a person to actually learn a new skill or a new information and like to absorb it. So just teaching in itself is already hard. But now you're expected to come and raise this person and give this person like, life skills and teach this person how to like act in like a community, how to be a decent human being. Like, I never understood why teachers were always I'm just saying this, but have always been put into these type of like situations. Cause like for me growing up, like I grew up with my parents. I had my mom and dad. And I know a lot of people don't have that, but yeah, I had my mom and my dad. And if my parents found out I was acting up in school, I was beat. I disappeared sometimes. Like, I was gone. Like, you couldn't find me. Like, the belts and shoes, I was gone. Then, I was lucky enough, I grew up in a black and like Hispanic church, like a black and Latino church, So not only was I getting it from home, like in my black home, I was getting hit by my mom, hit by my dad. My grandma would come over and like pinch me sometimes. I would go to church and we had like a whole bunch of like older black women, by the way. And if they heard us acting up, like, someone was preaching or talking, boom, you disappeared. So it was just like a community thing where kids were very much put into the front folds of learning how to behave in public. And I don't understand what's going on right now where like that and like kids getting that type of discipline, where it went. Because for me, that's what I'm saying. I got that. But for other people, I just don't understand. But teachers should not have to take on that workload because it's just too much. Also, like, I have to mention preparedness, just because, like I told you guys, I did the enrichment camp. I would have so many children, like during our enrichment camp cycles, kids that didn't have pencils, kids that didn't have like paper, kids that didn't come to school with pens. Like, what is this? So not only are the teachers teaching, they're disciplining, they're raising your kids, but they're also providing these children with the essential material needed to get through the classroom. It really is. It's bothersome to like so many degrees how you can send a kid to school with nothing in their backpack, like no school supplies, not thinking that, man, this kid might need something, or this kid might need a book, like at least a book or something in your backpack, but just nothing. Sending your kids off, just wishing them the best, hoping they come back home. Like, I truly do not understand. But on top of that, the article like really went into details, and I highly encourage you guys to go read the article. But the article also stated school shootings was an issue. There was violence against the teachers and other students that have risen, like just school violence. There's no admin help. So if teachers are dealing with students who are having discipline issues, those kids who are being sent to, like, say, the principal's office or whatever, those kids aren't getting the discipline there. It's just, these teachers are alone fighting these students. There's been an issue with the school curriculum. So I guess just like standardized testings and what the teachers are allowed to teach the kids. Politics is also another huge issue in schools right now. I know a lot of time, like these teachers are being forced to teach these kids about, like, say, gender identity, gender norms, just like those certain things that like don't necessarily have a whole lot to do with like just the education portion, but that's also being influenced and pushed into the education system as well. Then schools are slow for corrections. But yeah, I don't know. I think out of everything that I've like read in the article, I would bet some money on it that if schools made their teachers a priority financially, half of these issues would start changing. It truly does. It starts with the teacher. If you want a better educational system, you want a better schools, we have to prioritize the teachers. But in this economy, you're not going to get new recruits coming to this like school setting, these school systems, if you don't pay people a livable wage. But yeah, a teacher making $55,000, and teachers work hard. Like some of the teachers I remember when I was in high school, they were going to school like from 5 a.m., like getting on campus at 5 a.m. I actually remember one of my teachers being there that early for like a 0 period. And the teacher, some of my teachers, they wouldn't leave school until like 7, 8 p.m. And even then, they're getting emails from like administration. They're getting phone calls from phone calls from parents. They're working on the weekends. They're correcting papers. They're coming up with school assignments. For the workload that you're doing during like the school season, you're working, I would just about say 24/7. And to be working that hard and working with that many people, like every classroom, you're getting like 30 new people in. So like, I'm just doing the math. You're maybe teaching like up to like 300-400 kids, especially in high school. Elementary is a little bit different. You might be just stuck with one, set of kids. But in high school, you're getting that many kids in rotation. You're working 24/7. And you're only gonna pay me $55K to do this? No way. Then like I don't even know what the retirement benefits look like. I can only imagine they would have to be horrible if you're getting paid that little. But yeah, I believe that teachers should be getting paid a livable wage first. Let's start there. Have teachers get paid 6 figures and up. And if a teacher has more than like a certain amount of bodies in the classroom than capacity, pay that teacher more to handle that workload, that stress load. So I'm talking about 100K and plus. But we start there for like grade school all the way up, then we start working towards like college. Things will start changing. But yeah, that's the first thing I would say that needs to happen. Get paid more. Then schools also, they need to have like different like behavioral kind of correction like systems as well. Like if this kid is acting up in the classroom, we're sitting this kid out. What is like the procedure? What does that look like? Because when I was doing my situation, we would have a kid acting up, wouldn't work with the other teachers, disrupting other students. We would send him off to go speak to, someone in a higher position than us. The kid will come right back and the behavior will continue the next following day. Like it just would not change. So we need to start addressing behavior, and we need to start going after the parents. But I don't know. Maybe we need to start putting more money into the education, into building up better people so when they graduate, they can like better fit into society. But I don't know. It's so strange how we do not prioritize the education system, especially public schools, when the majority of us go through public schools. Like why don't we put more money into that? Like out of everything that this government, just I would say our country, I live in the United States, out of all the things that we put money into, like the military, into, fixing streets, into just, all types of just stuff, giving money to foreign countries. How come we don't put more money, the right amount of money and attention into the school system. Like, you know, but things aren't going to change until you start addressing the little stuff. But that's just my 2 cents. When I saw that video of that teacher getting bullied, it really just, it touched me, because like now that I am an adult, I look at that and I go, wow, this person must have been going through so much stress and so much anxiety, and this is his career, that he just said forget it. Like he lost his income because he refused to be demeaned by children. And clearly this like had been going on, and none of the other administration had been doing anything to really safeguard this teacher, this person. And now he has to live with this, him going through, I would almost call it abuse, this type of trauma for the rest of his life. And he's done. Now you lost an educator. Now all these students are going to be put in his position where they don't have a teacher. And what are they going to do about it? We don't know. And can we get more teachers to fill his position? Probably not, because of the pay. So I don't know. Things have to change. I saw it on TikTok and I just wanted to report on it. So that's just my 2 cents. But yeah, since you guys stuck around, I want to say thank you so much for watching. Make sure you like and you share, you subscribe, and I'll continue looking for more like news stories and articles on TikTok. And if you have any like stories you want me to report on, especially if they're local news stories, like small community stuff, or anything like that, I love that. Those are my favorite stories, or business. Send them to me. Just go ahead and message me down below, or you can send me an email and I'll like check it out. But yeah, you guys have a great day, and let's just respect teachers. If you see a teacher, give them a hug. If you're a student, you're watching this, just remember this person is a human being, and like they're going through their own problems as well, but they're here and they're teaching you, and like just consider that like a privilege. Just be happy that they love teaching kids, teaching you, and just appreciate them.